Alright, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my fight prediction for this weekend's fight taking place in the sport of boxing between Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois. So this will be a highly anticipated rematch in a winner-takes-all undisputed heavyweight championship fight with all four of the respective world titles being on the line in this highly anticipated rematch. So let's get into the following storylines that I have heading into this highly anticipated rematch between the two respective heavyweight fighters. So first storyline is, can Oleksandr Usyk become a total three-time undisputed champion, but a two-time undisputed champion in the heavyweight division? Now, I think Oleksandr Usyk, personally, I really believe he is already one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And that's no disrespect to Hall of Famers like Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Leonard Lewis, and several others. But I feel like from Oleksandr Usyk being a natural-born cruiserweight, after being undisputed at cruiserweight, not being content, and climbing up to heavyweight and defeating some all-time greats, Anthony Joshua twice, Tyson Fury twice, Daniel Dubois. These are the greatest heavyweights that we've seen in the modern era. And Oleksandr Usyk is passing these tests with flying colors. I think if he can defeat Daniel Dubois again and become a two-time undisputed heavyweight champion, regaining the IBF title that he really never lost, because mind you, another storyline too is that once he defeated Tyson Fury the first time in 2024, the IBF, you know how the sanctioned bodies works for all diehard boxing fans watching and listening. They get money hungry, and they want the respective mandatory to get a title shot. And if the champion is not willing to give that respective mandatory title shot because the rematch or a highly anticipated fight is much bigger than defending the title, then they'll just let the title go away. And that's how Daniel Dubois respectfully became the IBF champion. He was the interim IBF champion, but then got elevated to become the main champion based off of Oleksandr Usyk chasing the Tyson Fury rematch that happened in December 2024. So that's how Daniel Dubois became champion. But can this updated version of Daniel Dubois be good enough to defeat Oleksandr Usyk? I believe Daniel Dubois, yes, he is on a 3-fight winning streak. And yes, he did become an email IBF champion, but he defended the title against one of the best heavyweights in the modern era, Anthony Joshua. And he proved that he was championship material, knocking out Anthony Joshua within 5 rounds, sending to the canvas several times, I believe 3 to 4 times in that fight that we saw last September. So this updated Daniel Dubois is not the same Daniel Dubois we saw him fight Oleksandr Usyk the first time in August of 2023. And also a storyline is that controversial body shot that it did land on the belt line. And I watched the fight earlier today. I don't know, the commentary when you rewatch the fight was very biased for Oleksandr Usyk. I really believe that was not a low blow, and that was a clean body shot that landed on the belt line, which honestly is the only reason why this rematch is very highly anticipated, because other than that 5th round body shot that connected with Daniel Dubois, looking back at the fight that I watched earlier today, Oleksandr Usyk completely blanked out Daniel Dubois and won a clean shutout 9 rounds to 0 when the 9th round occurred, when Oleksandr Usyk made Daniel Dubois quit off a jab. I gotta call a spade, but if it wasn't for this so-called body shot, would this rematch really be even discussed or talked about? We'll see what happens Saturday in the sport of boxing, but let's get into the tail of the tape here. My tail of the tape here is starting off with Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has 22 victories, 2 losses to his boxing career. 21 victories come away of knockout. Currently the reigning defending IBF heavyweight champion, stands at 6'5" with a reach of 78 inches. Then I'm looking at Oleksandr Usyk. Oleksandr Usyk has 23 victories, 0 losses to his resume. 14 victories come away of knockout. Currently the reigning defending unified heavyweight champion that holds the WBC, WBA, WBO heavyweight titles of the world, stands at 6'3" with a reach of 78 inches. And also he holds that Ring Magazine title, marks you as the best fighter in your division. So the height and the height goes in favor of Daniel Dubois, but both of these respective heavyweights have the same reach advantage. So let's get to the following game plans heading into this fight. Starting off with Daniel Dubois. I think Daniel Dubois should go into the body. I think Daniel Dubois should target Oleksandr Usyk's body to slow him down. And nobody, please do not get this the wrong way, but Ukraine fighters that I've seen over the last 2 to 3 years, I've noticed a pattern. They do not like body shots. Dennis Burchik, former WBO lightweight champion before he lost the title to Keyshawn Davis earlier this year on Valentine's Day, does not like body shots. Vasily Lomachenko, one of the greatest fighters of the modern era, did not like body shots in his boxing career. Oleksandr Usyk does not like body shots as well. You can look at the fights and the footage when he fought Anthony Joshua in the past, Tyson Fury in the past, some of the heavyweight fighters that he's mixed it up in the ring with. He does not like taking those body shots from those respective fighters, and he grimaces in pain when he has to take those shots. And respectfully, I think Daniel Dubois, having over a 90% knockout percentage over the likes of Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, I think Daniel Dubois could shut down Oleksandr Usyk with a lethal body shot or a combination of body shots to slow down Usyk in the fight. So I think he should do that. And also, mind you, we could talk about that again, that controversial body shot in the 5th round that occurred in the first fight. So I think he should go to the body. Next, I think Daniel Dubois should land some stiff, powerful jabs. Now, Daniel Dubois is known for being a knockout artist, but he is putting together a good skill set of boxing skills. And he has a stiff, mean jab to keep right down the pipeline to keep his opponents off of him. I've noticed that. It's a good move, and it's good for his repertoire and his arsenal when you're fighting a top 3 pound-for-pound fighter. No matter how you have your pound-for-pound rankings, Usyk should be in there. But he catches his opponents off guards with that jab shot. And when he lands the jab shot, that allows Daniel Dubois to quickly land the right or the left hook in between. So a jab and then left hook, right hook, however he wants to, because he has some pretty good hand speed. So I think that should be in the game plans for Daniel Dubois. And last but not least, I think Daniel Dubois should be very aggressive against Oleksandr Usyk and take control of the fight from round 1 all the way to whenever this fight ends. Put his foot on the gas pedal, go full speed ahead to Oleksandr Usyk, walk down to Oleksandr Usyk and control the pace of the fight against Oleksandr Usyk. Now, for Oleksandr Usyk, the game plans, I think he should fight in different lateral movements. What makes Oleksandr Usyk so special is him fighting in different lateral movements. And I'll use another Ukrainian example like I just did a few moments ago. Lomachenko, what made him great was fighting in different lateral movements. Some of these things that these Ukraine fighters do, and Oleksandr Usyk could do the same thing, fighting in different lateral movements. He is great at moving around constantly in the boxing ring. His footwork has given a lot of heavyweights problems since he's moved up to the division. Has the speed advantage from being a natural-born cruiserweight. And he's able to box off the back foot well, and he can fight coming forward well. So this man can do it all with his feet. He's tremendous fighting in different lateral movements. I think he should do this against Daniel Dubois. Next, he should fight on the inside. Now, Oleksandr Usyk has some cojones on him, because if I would definitely be fighting off the back foot, getting in the ring with these heavyweights, knowing damn well I'm not a natural heavyweight fighter. But he fights well on the inside. He can take it to these fighters, and that's what's made him special and unique at this heavyweight division. And when he can fight on the inside, land the hooks, land the left hand, the jabs, land the combinations and flurries, that's what makes Oleksandr Usyk so damn special in that boxing ring. And he had a lot of success fighting on the inside in the first fight between himself and Daniel Dubois. So I think it should go to that strategy once again in this rematch. And last but not least, continue to land accurate punches. That's what also separates Oleksandr Usyk from good to great. When you can land accurate punches, keep coming full speed with a full attack for 12 championship rounds, that is special and very unique. He has a strong boxing IQ, knows how to make opponents very frustrated fighting in a southpaw stance. Landing combinations to his opponents and flurries makes them either frustrated or surrender and quit. And this is example. I just said at the beginning of this segment, Oleksandr Usyk cleanly blanked out Daniel Dubois in the first fight. I scored it 9 rounds to 0. He made Daniel Dubois quit with his style. The knockout came off of a jab, and Daniel Dubois just took a knee and quit. So I definitely think if Oleksandr Usyk can go with everything I just said, he can have a lot of success and bring that IBF title back to the rightful owner, because it's a title that he never lost. But with that being said, I'm going to go with Oleksandr Usyk to defeat Daniel Dubois to become a 2-time undisputed heavyweight champion. And I think he's going to win the fight by decision. I think this is going to be similar to the first fight, but it could be more competitive. In the first fight, if you blank out that controversial body shot that did land on the belt line, it did land on the belt line. Forget that biased commentary that you heard in the first fight. That was a clean body shot. Yes, that could have been a knockout, but you guys also got to remember, in those 9 rounds, I scored a 9-0 in favor of Oleksandr Usyk. And remember, Usyk made Daniel Dubois quit, landing a knockout off of a jab. And I think this could be a more competitive fight because this is a updated, more confident version of Daniel Dubois that is on a 3-fight winning streak. And he did show his championship material defending the IBF title against Anthony Joshua last year in dominating fashion. But I think Usyk's skill set is still too much for Daniel Dubois to handle. I think Oleksandr Usyk fighting in different lateral movements. He can fight well fighting forward, fight well on the inside, fight well boxing off the back foot. I think Usyk is going to put the combinations together, landing punches and flurries to frustrate Daniel Dubois. I think he's going to be alert very well defensively because Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, only has a KO's puncher's chance against a top 3 pound-for-pound fighter in Oleksandr Usyk. So, yes, it could be more competitive, but it could also be lopsided like we saw in the first fight. So, I think Oleksandr Usyk is going to know that Daniel Dubois is going to target the body. I think he's going to be alert defensively. He's going to let the hands fly, land the jabs, land the right hand, left hook, right hook. He's going to have a special performance against Daniel Dubois to regain that IBF title that he should never lost in the first place. So that is my fight prediction for this weekend's fight between Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois.